everybody. This is Anthony Bionis from Mission Start Podcast here with episode 20. And this is a very special episode today. Today with me is just me, myself, and I. And with me today is Jason. How you pronounce your last name?
It's Gist.
Gist. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Jason Gist. Um, he is here today because we'll be talking about how he got into the fighting game community, and eventually to where he's up today. And then we're also going to talk about the charity event that's coming up. And what was the name of it again?
It's called Battle at the Capitol because it's in Sacramento.
Cool, awesome. So we'll be talking an awful lot about the fighting games and the good stuff. So. Start off, Jason. Jason. Man, I'm already hitting the wall already. Oh man.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Jason, but somehow everyone ends up calling me Jay, so I start telling people to call me Jay. Um, Also, if you see me online or on any tournament stream, my name is Ninja.
Awesome. Sweetness. So Jason, tell us, how did you get into the fighting game community and what like kind of give us a little brief history about you.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say I've been hardcore into the fighting game community until like 2009, like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But fighting games were a big part of my gaming life. When I was in, I don't know, third grade, I used to go to kind of a daycare, and we'd have field trips, and one of the field trips would be to a roller skating rink, and that's where I started falling in love with arcades, like with Final Fight.
Yeah, rocking the
Yeah,
arcades.
yeah, Captain America and the Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
and then Street Fighter 2 was my first fighting game when I was, how old was I? That was the third grade, about 8 years old? Okay, so I started playing Street Fighter when I was 8.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to use the roller skates to actually be able to use the joystick and buttons.
To reach. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man, yeah, definitely.
but yeah, after that, I just played different fighting games, with my friends whenever Street Fighter 2 came to the Super Nintendo, and Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, Third Strike, Marvel, Tekken. It's the genre that I'm the most close to because I think it's really the only genre that you can play with all your friends at the same time.
That's true. Yeah. And back then it was more of a kind of intimate kind of, you're next to the person playing the fighting game, and like if somebody loses, like you be there in their face. It's like you can give him point. um but yeah, that is totally sweet. Like what, like the games you were playing up, did you as growing up, when you first discovered about the kind of competitive scene of fighting games, like what really what convinced you to really go full force and joining the FGC?
Well, I guess a lot of people, with the resurgence of fighting games, starting with Street Fighter 4, uh, that really interested me, especially once I started following it in the news. And then they announced the GameStop tournament, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good against all my friends. Might as well give it a shot, And then I started looking for, different tips and tricks to see if I could find a way to, have an edge over a lot of the competition. And then, that's when I found websites like Event Hubs, Shoryuken.com, and those were starting to get a lot bigger because Street Fighter 4 came out, and a lot of people were starting to get back into it. So there was a lot of info. And then just seeing all this, like it was like a world I've never even heard of, and like just the community, how close they were together. It was amazing online. And then I went to my the first tournament, which was the the GameStop Street Fighter 4 tournament,
Hmm.
and I did very well my first time. I got the the yellow bandana
Oh,
to go to the next round.
yeah, the red bandana. Yeah.
No, well, no, you get the red bandana with the special edition, and then when you went to the tournament, you got the yellow.
Oh,
If
okay,
if you
gotcha.
won, if you but then the second time, I I didn't do so well because I played against somebody that really knew what they were doing, and I was amazed by it. I was talking to this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, there's tournaments all over the place. There's people meeting up and having sessions so they can get better, and then started telling me like certain characters that I should try out, and it was just it blew my mind just because of all so much information that I never even thought about.
Definitely. I mean, like, yeah, it's funny because like, I entered in the GameStop Street Fighter 4 tournament too, and I've been playing games for a long time. I mean, I have my fair share of fighting games I played over the years, but when Street Fighter 4 came out, and I entered, I was like, I got the game early. I was like playing it, and then I come to the tournament only to find out that you can only use the original 8, or was it like 12 characters,
Yeah,
not the unlockable ones.
right.
And it really sucked because I used Cammy. So I'm like, ah, shit.
But
uh,
I have a question for you.
yes.
How did you feel when you were standing next to that person, and then knowing that what you were playing for was something higher than just to win? That you actually had a goal set, and like the goal could have been is actually in your grasp.
The funny
You know.
the funny thing is that when I entered the tournament and went to the GameStop, I was still kind of blind. I mean, like, I was entering just to have fun. But the thing was though, with that playing against somebody, the thing is though, the GameStop tournament, they had two TVs, one outside, one inside, and it was cold. So I ended up playing this guy outside, and then half the time my controller would be malfunctioning. So it wasn't quite, the best moment per se. But it did lead me into kind of discovering more and more about the fighting game community, about these tournaments, about how much money you can win in these tournaments. And it really got me more involved into really, eventually joining in. But yeah, it was a very interesting first time experience with the game.
Yeah, that was, my first tournament, and not really, playing against any of my friends or some random person that was on, the cab next to me. I was playing because I thought I was good, and I wanted to see how far I could go. So my first match, you know, I've I was so nervous. I mean, I've never been as nervous as I felt when I was playing there. It was
Hmm.
ridiculous. Like in high school, I did wrestling, and I know about competition and your nerves and stuff, but like when I was sitting next to him and playing and knowing he was next to me wanting the same thing that I wanted, that was more than just a win.
Hmm.
If you lose, you can walk away and come back later, but if you lost, you lost. It was game over. You're done. So
Yeah,
to me, all the adrenaline was going, and I mean, I guess like I felt my first real hype experience when with fighting games. I think that is what keeps driving me,
yeah,
just to have that feeling.
definitely, definitely. It's funny because like I think it's funny because like I mean, I guess GameStop it can be technically called the first tournament, and I guess I mean I didn't quite feel this nervous, but like I think what really I think the tournament that really got me nervous because like because after a while, I started to learn about more about the fighting game community, about the tournament, watching these streams. I believe it was not too recent ago. Because I don't really go much to tournaments because of transportation issues. But I went to this one in Fairfield. I think it was like a month ago, month or two ago, like I was there. I was just thinking like, oh, probably some small tournament, just to go in and play and see how I do. And then like suddenly like I see like these top players just like walking in. So I was like, if Filipino champs walking in, Crisis comes in, mine comes in, DJ Scroll. I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah,
I have no shot.
we live. It doesn't matter though, because we live in the best area. NorCal, has the greatest competition. As in, DJ Scroll, Hi, I'm Nasty.
Hmm.
He is he comes to my tournaments all the time, and he's
Hmm.
such a cool person. And every time you play with him, you level up because you learn because he's so smart at the game, and he can pretty much, talk to you while you're playing with him, and I mean, you feel like you're leveling up all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and just being in that community, and the region that we're in, we're constantly bombarded with all that good players that you know we can level up too at a lot faster rate than people say, and more in the Midwest or in the South.
Right, definitely. I mean, like it's a total different experience from playing online at home to playing in a tournament with people watching you on stream and also playing against somebody face to face. It's right now it's a really good time for fighting games. It really is. Um, but I want to get back to more about your history. With some of the early fighting games you were playing throughout your youth, was there any particular fighting game that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I think the one I liked the most was Super Turbo.
Mm,
Was just because that's when the super bar was introduced,
right, right.
and then the characters are faster, and some of the characters had almost new move sets,
Mhm.
so it definitely changed the game. But yeah, it was still Street Fighter 2 because, and that was my first, so I don't know, it put in a new depth to it. It made it a lot fresher, and still to this day you can go back and play it and love it a lot.
And I think there's still they're still doing a tournament for this game. Was it called I forgot what it's called. Evo's having it. Is holding a tournament for it. I want to say it's some of Legends. I can't remember exactly the name of the event, but like to this day that game is still being played in full tournaments, and it's still widely people are still finding some hidden technology in a game that's been out for about what 20 years.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
insane.
that's going to be a good one because it's an invitational with all the old guard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think one of the fighting games in my early days that I really played a lot and really played, especially when it came out, was Marvel 2. Because at the time, because I'm really into comic books, so combination of comic book characters with like hey, a fighting game is just like oh, this is like the best thing ever, and I played the crap out of Marvel 2. And I just eventually I played Marvel 2 up to Marvel 3 and Ultimate and whatnot. But I really dug not only Marvel 2, but like I really dug the whole Versus series. Like I can go back and say like I played like X-Men Children of the Autumn like that far back. um, but
Yeah, that Marvel superheroes with the
yeah.
with the gems. You choose Spider-Man and you get the speed gem. It's all over. There's no way that anyone could hit you.
Yeah, man. And the Marvel superheroes, you got to fight Cyber Akuma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Oh,
a good one.
yeah, some good stuff. But yeah, I mean like as far as like I mean like when you first got into fighting games competitively, like what was the first things that you kind of were blown away or just kind of like when you discovered streams and whatnot, what was the first thing that kind of went through your mind?
Well, as I said earlier, I pretty much walked into a world that I never knew about. I mean, because before I started playing, fighting games competitively, I did a lot of first-person shooters. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was really into Medal of Honor, Allied Assault,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when Game Battles was first starting out, there was a lot of like ladder tournaments, and then me and my clan we would do that. And then when Call of Duty came out, we got into that. I really didn't get much into the console games like Halo,
Mm-hmm.
but I played a lot of Quake and Counter Strike. That was
Yeah.
that was a game I played a lot. So playing competitively and learning maps, learning best loadouts, uh, trying to find your little techniques and your tricks. That really interests me. In finding ways to be better than your opponent. And with fighting games, watching tournaments, watching streams, you really see, after a while, once you first start watching them, you don't quite understand what's going on, but then then once you start putting yourself into the character and how they're playing, you're like, oh wow, I like I totally see them trying to do that frame trap right there, or trying to set up, the ultra.
Yeah, definitely.
And then once you do that, and in your brain, because you're running with it too, and you feel like you're thinking the same way. You feel like you're thinking the same way as the player is, and it just makes you more hype. And like you start getting jumpy, like yeah, because it's like you're rooting for your favorite football team or something.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's funny you mentioned that because it is funny you say that because it is a jock mentality like in the fighting games because like you have that mentality like it is a game, but also it is a sport at the same time where you want to win, you want to go on to the next round, and you want to be the best of the best. And it is funny that how that kind of jock kind of like competitive mentality carries over to fighting games and kind of how it developed from there. And you see people who are really get hyped for a moment, or like when something incredible pulls off, they jump off their seat and they're just popping off so hard. Yeah, it definitely is a different kind of world that the fighting game community has taken over. Um, for me, I want to say that like I think what solidified me to finally join, because the funny thing is like during the time where Evo was happening, I've only heard about it like through Team Spooky and whatnot, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. But then I started watching, and it was like I was watching everything. I was like just so amazed about the level of play that's happening and the amount of hype that generates from that main stage, and just kind of everybody just jumping off with that raw emotion you could see in the crowd and yelling and screaming. It was incredible. It really, and after I watched the whole Evo, it was like that really solidified me to the fighting game community. And the funny thing is that it was at the time where I was about to go hardcore in StarCraft 2. So it was like either going to be StarCraft 2 or going to be fighting games, and I chose the latter. Oh man. But so Jason, I, how did you become a tournament organizer?
Well, I guess it's really started out. The Sacramento Central Library was running I think the last Saturday of every month. They had a game day where they had a couple members of the staff. They brought a bunch of consoles, and each month would be a different game, and then people would come, and play in the library. But it wasn't like in the library, but it was in one of like the conference rooms right next to it, which the library owned. And then so I started going, and I talked to one of the staff members. It's like, hey, can I help out? I'd like to, bring some people in and, play Marvel and Street Fighter. And they're like, yeah, sure, do that. And then once I did that, a lot of people came in, a lot of people got interested. And, we did a couple of those. And then one of the staff members was leaving. And what happened was they wanted me to run everything myself. And, I was really interested in doing it. And, I started, making preparations for like having my own, name, like, event title and all that stuff. But I guess what happened is the property manager um, decided that it wasn't a good idea to do them anymore. So we couldn't do them. But while doing that, I got in contact with Luis Perez. He actually runs a convention around here that's called Decepticon.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a venue space available, and we were talking about things that I was doing and my future plans. And he was really interested in getting some type of community together, gaming community, anything really. And I came to him with my idea, and he liked it, so we started it. And it was my first time organizing a tournament, but since we're in such a great location, all the top players that came, like mine and X-Ray and 200 Yen and Hi I'm Nasty, they all showed up, and if I had questions, I would ask them, and they would help me out. So after my first tournament, after I organized my first tournament, I felt really comfortable doing it, and then after that, it just started rolling on, and I like doing it. I guess since I'm a husband and a father, uh, trying to be in a role where you organize things in a way that helps people uh, work out.
And
Uh,
and it's
yeah, sorry.
no, it's cool, like, and it's pretty awesome that to hear how that came to be, because um there isn't that many like scenes in Sacramento for a fighting game community to kind of really develop and get into their own, because I know there's one up here in Fairfield. There's a bunch of other spots in Northern California, but Sacramento didn't quite have that scene as much. I know there are players there, but not like a place to kind of gather and really play games, and also have it streamed. Um, so it's great to hear that how that came to be. Um,
Yeah,
or-
Sacramento doesn't have much of a fighting games scene, and a lot of people have been asking and telling people we need a Sacramento needs a scene. There's a lot of good players, and people need to see them, and they need to represent their hometown.
mhm,
So it feels really good to be able to do these for them.
definitely.
And then also uh, surprisingly, Smash Brothers is pretty big in the Sacramento area.
Yeah, it is. Um, how did it feel when like your tournament was being streamed over the internet for the first time?
Oh, it was awesome. That was with Finest KO. Those are some of the guys that I met while being in the fighting game community, especially in Davis, because that was the closest area where tournament was being ran. So I met a lot of good guys, and Sean, his handle is Koopa. He's the one that I talked to about setting up streams, and him and his partner Scott, who's also known as Spirit Juice, they run Finance KO. I think Scott's the owner, and I was able to talk to him and build a relationship with those guys, and
Hmm,
that right history wrote in itself.
it's awesome. Um, the I just out of curiosity, do you have your own kind of nickname that you use for tournaments when you enter, or anything of the sort, or is it just Jason?
Yeah, yeah, it's a Ninjay, Ninjay.
Oh, right, that's right. Just out of curiosity, how did you come up with that name?
Well, I like ninjas, and I was on PSN, and I was trying to think of a good PSN ID, and I saw Ninja, and I just put a Y at the end because I thought I was trying to be clever. Nothing too special about it. It was just me trying to think of a PSN ID name,
Right,
and so
right.
it was easier if I just ran with that, so I can meet people, play online with them. They know who I am, and they can recognize me by my name
Right.
online.
I gotcha. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and it was funny because was it um it was for a while I was trying to think of a name to really for my nickname in case I enter any tournaments. And you got like some people who have like these cool nicknames that they come up with, like Mega Man Steve, or freaking well, I can't think at the moment, but it was interesting and kind of cool to see that. So I was thinking of, well, what could I use, I came back to the name that I've always been using for my entire life, and it's kind of a silly thing I did, is because the name I came up with was the same. It was essentially just a character I made up when I was like 7, 10 years old, when I was like trying to make my own comic books. And the character name was Clown Master, and I won't go too deep into it, but it was just some character I made, and I just ever since then I use that name for almost everything. So hence the name is still what I use today.
Yeah. Well, that's good though. I mean, it's something that you can identify with yourself, and if that's something that has stick with you your whole entire life, I mean, you should be proud of it.
That's true. Yeah. Nobody knows it but me.
Now or not now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Give it about another. Who knows? Um, so we're gonna take a short break. And then when we come back, we're gonna talk about the charity event that's gonna be happening next week. I believe next week is it happening or
Yeah, May 5th and 6th.
all right, next week in Sacramento for Child's Play. So sit tight and we'll be right. Hello everybody. This is Anthony Bionis from Mission Start Podcast. And if you enjoy listening to us not only on the website but also on iTunes, be sure to check us out on Stitcher as well. Stitcher is an iPhone, Android app, also on other smartphones. You can download for free. And also registration is for free too. It's an app that you can listen to any podcast that is on there without ever downloading a file. When you register with Stitcher, be sure to put in promo code Mission Start or Conover or both, and you get to automatically be entered into a $100 prize every month from Stitcher. So be sure to check us out, support us, and we'll support you guys. Hello, everybody. We are back. We got our waters. We're good to go. And we're going to talk to Jason about the upcoming charity event going on next week in Sacramento. So Jason, take it away.
Okay, yeah. Talk about the event that I'm going to run. It's called Battle at the Capitol. It's going to take place the 5th and the 6th of May. And what's different about this is that the most major tournaments you go to, you pay, a pretty big registration fee to, take care of, the expenses, of actually running the tournament. But since, I have this relationship that I built up with Luis and Decepticon, with being able to for my event being hosted at their venue has really helped out a lot, which doing that, the $30 registration fee that people pay ends up is actually going to be a donation towards Child's Play. And then, just like any other tournament, you pay a fee to be entered into the tournament of whichever game you want to be in, and that money that goes to the pot where the top three will get paid. So it's still like a regular tournament, but the registration is actually taking care of the donation.
Right, right. It sounds an awful like if people might go back and watch, but it sounds an awful like how Fight for Youth had their tournament in not too recently near LA, where they had people go and just play tournament like usual, but like it was like earning money for charity for the school, but at the same time also earning their own money. Except in your tournament, nobody gets shaved.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be really cool, and we got a lot of sponsors to help us out with prizes. We're going to do raffles on site as well as online. All the info will be on websites and also on the stream, so that you'll know where you'll be able to post a donation for a raffle ticket or just want to donate.
Awesome. What came about the idea of running a Child's Play charity event for the tournament you're holding?
Well, one of the players that's helping me out, Jenkins, he's from Davis, and he last year he ran a tournament called Dromstruction, and it's pretty much just a regular tournament, but he also had a charity organization there called Chicks in Crisis, which helps. I think it helps women and children, and so I was thinking about what I could do because I was really interested in doing something about that. And while doing research on certain charities, I found Child's Play, and what they're doing and what other people has done to raise money for them. It really made me want to do something for them.
That sounds awesome. And the thing is though is like I love the idea you're going with Child's Play because Penny Arcade has been associated with that old charity event for I think the past year or two. I'm not quite sure, it might have been longer. But Penny Arcade themselves has done a lot of good for that charity, and I will come out and say like I'm really a big fan of the whole Penny Arcade staff and kind of what they do, comic wise or whatnot, and especially their conventions. But I love the fact that you're going with the Child's Play charity as part of your tournament. Um, when you were putting down the design plans for this tournament and getting Child's Play into it too, what were some of the ideas that was going through your mind that you wanted to put into this tournament?
Yeah, well, mostly, I still wanted to have the same, grassroots, feel of a fighting game tournament. But then, I also wanted, people, to see that even though, we're a gaming community and, all we do is play games and to win money, we're still really good people and, we're human. We like to help people, and doing things like this, helps, different media types, other sponsors, in the future, and it puts, good marks in our community, and something like that is big, especially in our world.
Definitely, it definitely is. Yeah, especially like for the past couple months, it has been a real roller coaster for the fighting game community. When you were putting these plans together, um, was this by yourself, or did you had help from a friend of yours to getting ideas down for how this charity will be run and how it'll be for the tournament?
Well, as I contact Jenkins because he has ran tournaments of this magnitude before, because you can't jump into a major tournament by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean you're just going to get eaten alive. So I've had a lot of people helping me, a lot of people supporting me, but the overall organizing of the tournament, it's pretty much all all me. But as I said, Jenkins has helped me, find, the paths I wanted to take, and he's also, since he's has ran these tournaments before, and he's in the same community I am in, he has other contacts that I haven't been able to reach. So in a way, he is a really big factor to this tournament, and I couldn't have done it without him.
Mm, awesome. Um, when did you have, when you're creating this charity event for next week, did you have any fear that people will come, but not enough, or like say like if you wanted somebody a big name a player wanted to come, but he couldn't, like is there a fear that this may or may not work?
Yeah, well, not at first. I originally posted the threads in January, and at that time, I went and looked around to see if any other majors was going around at that time, and nothing was there. So, so I had no fear. But now, a couple weeks after I posted my thread, big names like Shadowloo Showdown in Australia came up, and then Seasons Beatings, SummerSlam, which is in Chicago, they posted theirs up too. And maybe there is a website or a thread that I missed or didn't have access to see when these majors would take place. But we are still in NorCal, and we still have a lot of top players. So no, I won't have anybody like Justin Wong or Filipino Champ because they're going to Australia, and Puerto Rican Balrog. He lives in the Bay Area now, but he's going to be at Seasons Beatings. But still, we still have a lot of players that can come, and I know confirmed that Hi I'm Nasty's coming. Uh, everybody from Team Mine, Mine, X-Ray, Quest, and then and whoever from else from the Bay Area is going to come.
Definitely. I think if the cool thing is that even though like that it kind of sucks that there are other big majors going on at the same time as yours. There's still a very grassroots type of feel of your tournament. It's not. I mean, like you'll have top players there, but you also have a good amount of people there who also play Marvel, who are maybe good, but don't have their name out there, or like are very kind of hidden that nobody knows yet until one day they happen to go into a tournament, which makes it's just pretty awesome because it makes the average Joes like me have a chance to steal the spotlight, even if it is for a tournament that people will be watching. Um, so when all things said or done, when you have your tournament, when everything is set, or let's just do this. Let's fast forward 2 weeks from now. This tournament happened. It was a great success. Everything went well. What would be the thing that you would take away from doing this?
Well, it'll probably mostly just be the experience, and the new people that I meet in building relationships with them. But also, I really want I really want to make a difference, and I feel like something like this will make a difference, on a personal level, but then also at a community level. And I'm really anxious to see what that's going to feel like, and I'm pretty excited. And something like this was just my first idea, and I got plenty other ideas, and doing this makes me excited to do a lot more.
Sounds great. Sounds very awesome. Um, I think you might have answered this before, but I just want to be sure. Why did you choose Child's Play out of the charities out there for your tournament?
Well, Child's Play, they I think it's not like the Children's Miracle Network or anything. It's pretty much an organization that is out there to help the children that are in the hospital, but it's also created by people like us, and doing something like that, it just to me seemed like one of the best things to do because you know we're a gaming community, we're gamers, so doing a charity for gamers, for a gaming charity, seemed like the most logical thing to do.
Awesome. And I will add to that Child's Play, yes, we're a bunch of gamers, but we also do help out with charities, so like, hey, we have a heart. We're not just at home playing games all day, even though that's kind of what we do. Um, but Child's Play does support children in hospitals with games and with other stuff to keep them occupied and having fun. And it's been taken off really huge, and it has been helped many hospitals over the years. Um, so the ideas you said you were thinking of doing, um, is there something is it you cannot say right now, but like what are some of the ideas you're thinking about doing for future tournaments?
Well, what I'd really like to do is, even though I love the fighting game community, I want to branch out to different gaming communities, like the StarCraft community, first-person shooters. I want to reach out, to any type of, competitive gaming community that I can to do things like this, for Child's Play or for maybe a local charity or whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I can dig that. An all around type of deal. Yeah, that'd be totally cool. Cause, yeah, like it definitely like yes, you can appeal to the fighting game community, but why not, branch out to other branch out to other video game communities out there as well. You got the first person shooters, you got your RPGs, RTS guys out there who are really into StarCraft and other games like that. Yeah, definitely, it is a great idea to really branch out into those areas too. Um, Man, I just had a question that just slipped my mind. Um, when hmm, trying to think. Do you have a question for me? Why I try? I remember.
Yeah, well, what's your team right now?
Oh, okay. My team right now for Marvel is Spider-Man, Deadpool, Hawkeye, and originally from like I think MVC2 when I brought over to Vanilla, but it didn't work too well. Was originally Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Morgan, and the reason for that team was that because I've been playing Wolverine like since back in the X-Men Children of the Autumn days, and like it was only like until like I think Marvel 2 I picked up Spider-Man because I was really into the comic books and I really like Spider-Man. And then eventually just move on to Vanilla. It didn't work out too well. So I had to drop Wolverine because of his nerves that really killed him in Ultimate. I mean, it didn't really kill him. I mean, he's still a very good character, but it's just he didn't quite fit as well into my team as I wished. So yeah, it took a bit of soul searching, but yeah, it's kind of how my team came to be.
That's cool. I don't know. I think you should still stick with Wolverine.
I know, like
First,
I know. I mean, Wolverine's still a good character, but right now my team has a lot of synergy. It works well together. It's basically my Spider-Man is my rushdown character, and I have Hawkeye's like assist backing me up. And if Spider-Man dies, it just becomes Team Zone with Deadpool and Hawkeye. But yeah, I'm like yeah, maybe one of these days I might bring back Wolverine someday.
oh yeah. Right now I am using Virgil, Nova, and either I'm messing around with Frank and Super Scroll.
Ah, yes. Um, I cannot talk today. Super Scroll is a very good character. I've seen High and Nasty stuff. That scroll is so scary.
I know that that just watching him play is what's inspired me to try him out.
hmm
And he's really good. And you really don't. You just have to be smart.
You have to
You have to be really smart to use him.
you have to really guess on those meteor smashes because if you guess wrong, it leads into a combo and it is insane.
Yeah.
So and I assume Frank West is there also to is he your anchor or your second person on the team or
Usually if I use him, he's the second player, so the second person on my team. If I have Frank West, Nova's usually my first because I use him to DHC Franken, and that way I can have a level 5 Frank
nice,
instantly.
nice, that's awesome. Oh, I was gonna ask. Okay, so I have to finally remember my question. Um, so recently, and this gets into a little bit of esports, but recently I believe it was CBS who partnered with Twitch and MLG to bring over. I'm not quite sure exactly, but better ad revenue maybe, or I'm not quite sure the full details. But how do you feel about CBS joining Twitch and MLG?
Well, I want to see what happens. I mean, usually, something like this can end before it even begins. But it has a lot of promise. Like CBS bringing ads, from gaming and competitive gaming into, CBS. But it's not necessarily going to the TV, but the interactive uh, website side of it. But still, that is a really big, you know, I guess it's a really big place to put our faces and other gaming communities out there for other people that didn't know that we exist, which is really cool. But as I said, this is something that really hasn't even started yet, and anxious to see what it's going to carry into.
Definitely. I mean, like when I first heard it, like the first thing came to mind is like, oh shit, we're gonna get fighting game tournament on TV. All right, let's do this. But the more I looked into it, the more I started to realize that nobody quite knows exactly what it's gonna be. It could be just be more ad revenue. It could be just be more kind of interactive with CBS website with the fighting game tournaments. Who knows who might this be, but it is very good optimism to say that this does help the fighting game community expand, and it will help it get to a better place than it was before. Like I think it's funny how I think this whole thing kind of initiated thanks to Brazzers with Li Joe.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Yeah, it's funny how it's starting to look like now bigger, what to say, like bigger companies want to help out and get involved in the fighting game community. So I'm glad that CBS has joined, and it can only lead to good things. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Um, yeah, I think I'm trying to think of anything else, but it's late at night. I'm kind of hot, kind of sweaty, and yeah, I have nothing else, man. I mean,
Okay.
like, oh, actually, talk about because I know you're gonna be at Daikon this weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The part of the Davis Fighting Game Club, they're running a tournament at Daikon, and it's just going to be Street Fighter, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Marvel, and Mortal Kombat, and Skullgirls. So that's going to be pretty fun.
Nice. Yes. If for those who don't know, Daikon, by the time you listen to this podcast, it'll be like a day before.
Yeah.
But Daikon is the next convention that we're gonna go and cover. I suggest everyone who's listening to this podcast to go check it out. It's in Davis. It's $12 to enter, but they have the arcade and bowling from 1 to 5, unlimited play, which is awesome. They got some anime showing viewing rooms. Like Jason said, like they'll have I believe like 4 or 5 tournaments going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which is gonna be like Marvel, Street Fighter X Tech, and Street Fighter Skullgirls. And I believe isn't it being streamed too?
Yes, it will be streamed by Finest KO,
Nice. So yeah,
and you can see the stream at twitch.tv/Finest KO.
yeah. So you guys should definitely check it out this weekend. Um, yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything else to ask you, but I will say though, like, good luck to you with the charity event next week. Best of luck. Hope that it runs successfully. That you're doing a good service to Child's Play and also to many children who do need help in hospitals who are often bored or often need something to do.
Yeah, that's kind of a dream that I've been wanting to put together, and now it's finally happening. Excited. Is it cool if I plug it one more time?
Yes, go ahead, by all means.
All right. Battle at the Capitol is going to go down May 5th and 6th. The location is the Artisan Building, which is at 1901 Del Paso Boulevard. There's plenty of parking, so you don't need to worry about that. Registration to play in the tournaments is the $30 donation, and then $10 for each tournament. The tournaments we're going to be running for singles will be Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Soul Calibur 5, King of Fighters 13, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. We didn't have time to put Skullgirls on the schedule, but we will be having a Skullgirls side tourney because a lot of people are hyped about that game. And for the team tournaments, which you can register on site, will be the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It's a 3 versus 3. King of Fighters 13, which is 3 versus 3 as well, and then Street Fighter Cross Tekken 2v2. And also with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, no gyms. Gems are banned.
The gems, there are no, you can't use them.
No gems.
I still find that funny. Awesome, sweet. Oh, where can I find you on Twitter if you have one?
My Twitter is at jaygist, Jaygist, and then also the bi-weekly tournaments I run is Capital Fight District, and you can find that at facebook.com/Capital Fight District.
Awesome. You can find me and my shenanigans at my Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can find this podcast along with everything else on our website at MissionStarPodcast.com. We have a Twitter also for our website at MissionStarP. We have a Facebook, Facebook.com/MissionStarPodcast. We're on iTunes. Check us out there. We have our own YouTube page at Mission Star Podcast 1 because somebody stole Mission Star Podcast. I don't know why. And we got a lot of other shit. So yeah, basically check out our cool stuff. Woo.
Oh, got one more thing. If anyone's listening and is interested in registering online, you can go to dromstruction.com to register, and that's a DROMSTRUCTION.com.
Awesome. And I have one last question for you before we sign out for the night.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Are you going to EVO?
Am I going to EVO? Unfortunately, I will be at a wedding during EVO, so no, I can't make it this time.
Okay, gotcha.
But I hope I'll be able to make it next year.
Awesome. Glad to hear. All right.
How about you? You going?
Oh, I wish. Well, let's say this. If I win the tournament this weekend at Daikon, I might be able to go. So, yeah. But anyways, it was nice talking to you, Jason. Thank you for joining me for this podcast.
It's great to finally talk to you. Will you be at Battle at the Capitol?
Maybe. It depends.
Okay. I hope you can make it.
Yes, definitely. That's gonna do it for us. So for me and Jason, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.